Welcome everyone to the Undercover Brony Reviews. The episode reviewed today will be Over a Barrel, written by Dave Polsky.
So, Dave Polsky, this is his second episode writing for the show, first being Dylan Peaky King. And while that episode had a lot of issues in terms of the subtext, this episode, on the other hand, is, oh my gosh, it's so much better. This episode is awesome.
I was trying to find that Backstreet Boys song where they're like, back streets back, all right. But then I was gonna be like, undercover's back, all right. Anyway. Yeah, well, no, Dave Polsky.
Did that one thing where what was it? Season 8, I think, where it's just like, guess who's back? Back again. D-U-B. Tell a friend.
Seriously, we need views. We can't make a living off this. I have 5 children. I'm kidding. My dad does, though. I'm number 5. So Over a Barrel. This is an episode where if you watch it at the time, it's really pretty good because the bar has been not set low, but set very mid. But this is also an episode that when you roll back the tape and you watch it again for the first time in 8 years for me, this is an episode where you're like, yeah, it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
I was reading on TV Tropes. This was very funny to me. Because I remember at the time, some folks had an issue with the subject matter because you've got the strong, noble, native equestrian buffalo, and you've got the weird accent and questionable English settlers, kind of Appaloosa. So some people were like, you guys are trying to simplify centuries-old issues. And my reaction was always like, I don't care. Jokes are funny, though. So that's all we're going to say about that.
It's one of those things where the subject matter, yes, I understand why people had issues with it, but at the same time, it wasn't enough for me to have anything taken away from the episode, if that makes sense.
No, I get you. TV Tropes even wrote here in the Your Mileage May Vary section, which is more or less their thing for their kind of opinion pieces, but they're still rooted in truth. Mm-hmm. For values dissonance, for reasons depicted in broken base and unfortunate implications, which are things they were that we talked about already. But the unfortunate implication was the Disneyfication of the Western movement and the purges of Native American homeland settlers. They said an episode like this would largely not be even attempted these days. And I thought, okay, that makes sense. But then I thought about it. Wait a minute. Attempted these days? This was like 9 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not like we're talking about something from 2002, guys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I've got Native American roots probably, and I'm only assuming that because my pops is Mexican. But I mean, I'm going to be honest. I didn't see anything particularly offensive. Let me tell you like this, because they said Disneyfication. Compare this to Pocahontas. Which one do you think is now? Pocahontas isn't fair because that's an actual depiction, but whatever. That's my point. That this is not the worst I've seen. This isn't like that one Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special. Not the cool one in the backyard where Snoopy's like making toast and shit. No, they did this one time where it was the Peanuts kids as pilgrims sailing over to the New World, and in the short, when they got there, they the Native Americans like straight up spoke English to them, and I think someone said the line something like, "Oh, you talk just like me," and blah blah blah. I think we could share this land. And me and my dad, who both of us had had a little bit of alcohol ingestion. We were laughing so hard. We're like, that didn't happen. No, this is not that. This is not that. So anyway, I almost forgot about the tree. I almost forgot about the tree because my main takeaways from this episode are Appaloosa, Yummy Yowie Beefcake, Dank Meme Legend, Brayburn, and the fact that I was pissed because the Buffalo and Little Strongheart never showed up again in the show.
Yeah. Well, if you want another topical dab, there was a dude who actually called his Jeep Elizabeth Warren because it said Cherokee on the side, but it was white as the driven snow.
Hold on. All right, now let's get in the episode. Oh my God, we're back again.
So, let me just say,
the Spanish version of that. Dios mío, here we go. Whoa. Okay, here we go.
So, there's a tree that they're bringing along with them in the caboose named Bloomberg. And I'm thinking, oh, so it got planted at the end of the episode and created Bloomberg News. Nice.
Freaking nice, dog.
But it's an apple tree that they're bringing from Applejack's orchard. And the one thing I'll say from this interesting that I didn't like is the fact that they're doing baby talk again. Thankfully, this was the last time they ever did it.
Was it really the last time?
I think so.
I think you're right, dude.
Because of course, Applejack's like, don't let Rarity get you. She's just gonna be big and strong. I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's right. That's when that's right. This is when the relationship was still very catty still. And then 9 years later they didn't canonize them and I was really mad. But anyway. So yeah, they're riding in the train, right? And like this is jumping ahead a little bit, but it kind of needs to be said. This episode gave us, like a lot of the earlier episodes, well, like almost every episode from season 1 and 2, this episode gave us quite a lot to work with years come. Because, like anything, you know, any show that lasts more than 5 or 6 seasons, eventually the fandom finds less stuff to meme and make comments around. But other than Brayburn, the biggest thing I can tell you, and again, this comes up later in the episode, there's an iconic line muttered later in this episode by Fluttershy, and you all know what it is. I'd like to be a tree. And you know, as soon as I said that, you guys all got instant flashbacks to that one remix. I want to be a tree, 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 tree. I think that's how it went.
I was also thinking of the YouTube poop. My Little Pony Friendship is not available in your country due to a copyright claim by Hasbro Inc. I don't know why. I still don't have full title, but it's literally, I'd like to be a tree, and then it's Twilight just doing this weird little laugh that keeps repeating.
Yeah.
And then you just have Rarity. Bah!
That was dank. So yeah, they're in there. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the tree's named Bloomberg. I think John already said that, but the tree is Bloomberg, which gets its own cabin. By the way, I thought that was funny. And the reason they're bringing the tree is because this is some of Applejack's distant relatives, and she's bringing it over there as basically like it's like a welcome. What's a term
token
for
of goodwill?
Yeah. What's a term for a gift, a welcome home gift, but you're going to the home for the first time? Is it called Spider-Man Homecoming, now available on Blu-ray?
Yeah, let's go with that.
It's like, oh, dude, I'm so happy you moved into your apartment. Here's your Spider-Man Homecoming, now available on Blu-ray. You open it up. Oh, dude, sweet, you got me a Metallica shirt, you know.
Right.
So after
they
the
get
credits,
to the town.
Yeah.
And now, okay, actually, no, before this. They're all in the sleeper car. And Spike's trying to sleep.
Oh, here it is. This is it. This is an iconic
He's trying
scene.
to sleep, and they're all talking. It's like, dude, guys, can you please quiet it down? Because I'm trying to sleep. I've been up all night fire roasting those snacks, and I'm tired. Okay, and so then Rainbow Dash does a dick move that immediately gets kicked in the balls by Karma.
Yeah.
She's like, speaking of, some of this popcorn didn't get popped. He's like, okay, fine. And he blows his fire to have all the freaking popcorn go burnt. And one little kernel pop Rainbow Dash right in the fucking forehead. I'm like, yes!
Yeah,
Karma's a bitch.
Yeah, that gave me some Daniel Bryan, yes, kind of conniptions, I must admit. So basically, isn't this the part where it culminates of Spike rage quits out the car, then they keep talking, and then Rarity's got her face mask on?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like he goes down. Well, okay. No, there's two things I have to mention here because I'm remembering back to the commentary that I did with Brian. The first thing is when Spike goes, Twyla was like, well, that was kind of Huffy. And then Fluttershy says, Huffy the Magic Dragon. And I'm thinking, oh, they just made a Puff the Magic Dragon reference, which is a weird, like, drug cartoon.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
That show was that show made me feel like I was on drugs.
Yeah.
So this is all going down.
But one of the other things, when Twilight's saying maybe we should get some sleep, like in the background, the music for some reason does a doom boom boom, and I'm thinking, ABC?
No, that's that boom boom boom. That's from that song. It's like Puff the Magic Dragon done. That was a nod to, because keep in mind, this is when Daniel Ingram still like tried.
Yeah, he did good.
So I'm gonna describe the next series of events to you exactly as TV Tropes writes them. I wasn't going to, but these are pretty good. So morning comes, and well, would you look at that? A herd of buffalo. They have amazing feather accessories, and they're getting close to the train. Really close. Close enough, in fact, they start side ramming the train.
Yeah.
When that doesn't stop the train, a small fiend buffalo hops on top of the train and heads to the back cabin where Bloomberg and Spike, who's sleeping through all this, are. Rainbow Dash tries to stop her, but Buffalo Gal detaches the cabin with Bloomberg, and the buffalo get away, and Rainbow decides to go after the dragon nappers while apparently suffering from a headache. I don't know. So she splits off, basically, and then everybody else gets to Appaloosa. Doesn't Pinkie Pie stow away and follow Rainbow Dash? Because this is an aspect of the show I always forget about. They really tried to portray Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash as like the two, like, what's that word? The two virtualistic best friends, where it's like one really likes the other, but the other one doesn't really. But they dropped that after this season.
Now, I gotta say, this whole introduction of Appaloosa with Brayburn is the funniest shit in this entire episode. Now, think about this. Dave Polsky, he came from the background of South Park, which is very much rapid fire humor.
Yeah.
Also very crass, but more of a rapid fire humor style. He does it here. He's like, here we have our Wild West dances, and then pushes it along. And here we have our Wild West dances, push it along. Oh, here we have our horse-drawn carriages. And I love, this is the best line here. One of the the guy pulling the cart is like, okay, now you pull. And then the guy in the carriage is like, oh, we just switched. And then he pushes along again. It's like, and here we have our horse-drawn carriage. And it's some canvassing horse-drawn carriage. And here we have our local tavern, the Salt Block.
Man, I tell you what, I rewatched that and I found myself chuckling intensely. I thought it was pretty funny.
Now I gotta wonder, are snails in Equestria? Because they'd have a grand old time at that place. Just saying. But it's such a great rapid fire sequence of jokes. And then he brings them over to the apple orchard. And this entire time, Applejack's been trying to tell Brayburn about what's going on. And he keeps talking over them. Like, first I was maybe this week, or maybe next week. And finally Applejack is just like, Brayburn, listen to me. We got attacked by a group of buffalo. And as soon as that happens, his face goes from a face of, hey, how's it going, to a, oh God, I need to shit.
Applejack was like, we got attacked by some dirty brown furs.
We got attacked by them redskins.
What's a derogatory term for buffalo, do you think? Aren't they just kind of like, aren't they of like the bovine family? So can you like call them cows? Okay, that's cool. So in Equestria, you could just go up to a buffalo and just be like, I'm going to say the C word. Strongheart, get down.
Oh, man. And I was talking about Redskins, the football team, if you're wondering.
I know.
I'm talking to the audience here.
You don't have to explain that to me.
I don't want to come across as racist, because I am not. I'm the farthest thing from it.
I can tell you something racist. Check this out. Me and my dad went to a steakhouse today because we got our Christmas tree. And then look, this guy had on a hat. And all three of the things on this hat I could take separately, but they were together. It's a big, bright, it's a red old hat. On the front, it says Red Hat Mafia. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Back of the hat says MAGA. I'm like, okay, whatever. But then on the left, Confederate flag.
Oh my gosh.
I told Dad, I'm like,
he's a Confederate Trump supporting mafia member.
I guess Trump, and I heard about this too. Around the time that Trump supporters wearing MAGA hats started getting punched by people, which I'm going to be real with you, I didn't agree with. They started calling themselves the Red Hat Mafia.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm like, look,
ridiculous.
I'm like, look, man, MAGA, okay, whatever. Confederate flag, okay, that's your thing. Big Red Mafia, Red Hat Mafia. I'm like, that sounds dumb, but whatever. But it was all three of them, and I don't want to be offensivo, but homeboy looked the part.
Well, I'll say this.
My dad was begging for that guy to look our way because he wanted to make eye contact with him and just go, just like that, just go. I'm like, Dad, you're a mad lad.
Well, I'll tell you this. Like, I agree with you. I didn't agree with the fact that people with MAGA hats were just getting
assaulted,
basically. It's like, you can hate the guy. Like, go ahead. That's your prerogative.
There's a lot to hate about.
But when you start beating up people with over a hat, that's going too far. But anyway, so then it switches over to Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash. And he's like, Rainbow Dash is like, oh, I can't wait to get my hooves on the little buffalo. I'm just like, dude.
Like, whoa, man. It is
bow, chicka, bow, wow.
That's not where I was going to go with that.
Well, where were you going to go with?
I was gonna say, whoa. I was gonna be like, yo, Applejack, you gotta be careful with those words, man. It's 2011. Times are changing.
Right. So
Did this air? No, wait. This is episode like 20. Okay, yeah, I think this aired in 2011.
21.
21. Yeah, then this definitely aired in 2011.
Now, I'll say this. This exchange between Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash is awesome because while I don't like it when Pinkie Pie's naive, the naivety here is actually pretty funny. It's used for comedic effect. And she's just like, what was it? It's like you're gonna blow my cover. I am? It's like I'm trying to say, like, oh my gosh, so am I. And the more we're talking out here, the more chances of getting caught. And all these herds of buffalo come through. And then they push themselves aside. Spike comes through and it's just like, Dash, Pinky, sup? Don't worry, guys, they're cool. And this one of the buffalo, literally is like, you say so, Spike. Catch you later, bro. And bro upset. And I'm just like,
welcome to the herd, bitch.
Yeah. So they take him back and they're eating, which Dash doesn't want to eat any of the sludge. Whereas Pinky's just burying her face like, who was the younger brother in A Christmas Story? Ralphie's younger brother, where he just like stuffs his whole face into the freaking into the dinner plate with all the mashed potatoes and stuff. That's basically what Pinky was doing. And basically, apparently this particular buffalo tribe respects dragons. So Spike's getting all these gems, and they eventually meet up with the Chief Thunderhooves. And he's talking about how there's a stampeding ground that they go over every year. But this year, the settler ponies have come in, and they've gone right over their stampeding grounds. And so they're wanting the settler ponies to leave so they can have their annual tradition. And Brayburn is basically saying the buffalo keep trying to invade us, and we're like, we're just trying to survive out here. And the group eventually meets up, and I love this little ship note that Fluttershy dashes over and jumps to hug Pinky. Really cute. They bring in Little Strongheart and Brayburn, and both of them are wanting to negotiate. They're wanting to talk it out, hash it out like grown adults. Whereas Applejack and Rainbow Dash, or Ashley Ball, two different voices, are basically arguing with each other and making the whole situation worse. And then
that's putting it lightly.
We get the song.
This is a song, I'm not gonna lie to you, I forgot about.
Yeah.
And when I heard it again, I was like,
I'll tell you this much.
hand motions included. Hand motions included.
Do you remember the Brony version of Game Theory? It was called
oh, I shouldn't say
like
that.
Equestria Labs or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't last long.
Well, one of the episodes he did was, is Rainbow Dash a lesbian? And from the show statistics, the only horse that, comparatively speaking, that Rainbow Dash enjoys is Pinkie Pie. Because in the scene, when she comes up with that lacy outfit and the dress and like the fishnet and everything. Before she comes out, Dash's wings are closed. And when it cuts back to her, her wings are
It was like that. It was like that thing at the end of Toy Story 2 where Jessie does all those sick tricks to close the door, and Buzz's wings just go.
Yep, exactly. Now
You don't know the true horrors of the internet until you've read a Toy Story lemon fic. The way, the amount of thought, the ways and the amount of ways that they put the incredible amount of thought into how to successfully jack off toys is incredible. You almost have to keep reading for like a bile fascination. It's like you don't know true internet horror until you see Buzz and Jessie in a BDSM relationship. I've spent a long time on the internet, old friend.
That is horrifying, but also I'm kind of like, how sickeningly weird does it get?
I should try to dig up that old fanfic and send it to you, and we can read it on the air.
Oh my gosh.
That's what we should transition this show into. We should just read bad fanfics.
Like read bad clock fics or something like that?
Yeah. And then Braidbird stuck his mess.
Now, if you want to go, I'll tell you this though. If you want to know the longest ever recorded piece of fictional literature, is a Super Smash Brothers Brawl fanfic. 3.6 million words, and it's still going.
I know that fanfic. Keep talking.
It's over 200 chapters. It is amazing.
Here we go. The Subspace Emissaries World Conquest. This is when you know you're in for a ride. Here's the chapter name and part of the author's note. Chapter 1. Start of Disc 1. New game. And then in all caps with the italic and with the bold font on. Before anyone says something bad about my OCs. And then it says, this story only contains a single OC through the whole fic. Don't think this OC came out of nowhere, because there is a prequel fic to this fic, so my OC and Lucario could be developed if you want to read it. But the most important aspects of the two will be briefly shown in here to give you an idea. Also, it would make more sense if you read The Bond of Aura, so you don't get a wrong impression of this OC, Chris, which when he said Chris, all I could think of was Christopher Thorndike. I've taken precautions about the Gary Sues and Mary Sues. Well, with that, and then, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
This is a what-if version of what happened if the Smashers never defeated Taboo.
Wow.
You know, I had a thought. I'm surprised that no one's tried to petition like
an audiobook.
I'm surprised no one's tried to petition like with the X-Men to get Super Smash Brothers renamed to Super Smash People.
Right.
Okay.
So,
diversion. The last time this fic was updated was June 11th, 2018, and this debuted March 4th, 2008.
oh boy. How many chapters, how many words?
221
Chapters.
Let's see here. Oh my god. Dude, there's stats. This fic is an RPG. Look at this. Saving your data now, Stiltskin said. Overriding file. Thundercloud Temple. So yeah, there's stats. Chris, level 120. Lucario, level 128. Pit, 140. Dark Pit, 140. What the French? I have updated my profile and other websites you can find me, namely Twitter and YouTube.
Wow.
What is this? Well, I can tell you one thing. I know I'm never going to start reading. There's no way he's finishing this.
Right. So the Chief Thunderhooves and the sheriff are just like, we have come to an agreement. That was the worst thing we've ever heard. And I'm like, yeah, I could see that. Because at the time, Pinkie Pie, her singing was more for comedy than it was for actual emotional value.
I think Pinkie Pie's entire character was originally supposed to be that she was the annoying person that, like, I don't want to say nobody liked, but that character that, like, because her annoyance was used as a weapon, and that was one of the weird things about going back and rewatching season 1. It's like, oh wow, Pinkie Pie was meant to be like completely different. If anything, in later seasons, Pinkie Pie functions more like the way Goofy does in Kingdom Hearts, where it's like, yeah, they're kind of the dumb one, but they just have a lot of more practical, common sense type stuff and like everyman advice that the other overly specialized characters just don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Of course, Pinkie Pie never got killed by a boulder for a bit, but I mean, you know, them's those Cage 2 flashbacks, dog.
Yeah. The next scene is literally Rainbow Dash going back with the buffalo and Applejack and the rest of the girls trying to stop the impending doom. They're cutting down trees. They're the southern ponies. They're cutting down or bringing down apples. They're making apple pies, and the buffalo are putting war paint on. And they're like, at 12 noon, we are going to have a battle. Whoever remains the victor or whoever survives is the victor. And I love that the buffalo are on the ridge. Everything's set to go. The clock strikes 12. Little Strongarm comes up to Chief Thunderhooves and he's just like, they're about to call off the attack. Then Pinkie shows up doing a reprise of the song, and that gets him angry enough to go, charge! So the fight was started by Pinkie Pie. And I gotta say, I love the little clip that they do with Ponies the Anthology, the first one, where it's literally that scene where they're doing, move, bitch, get out the way, bitch, get out the way. Then the battle ensues.
This battle was pretty good.
It was funny.
It was a lot. It was better than the series finale. Nah, that's not true. That's not true. But
then it get referenced up.
I watched this. I'm like, oh, this is like Game of Thrones. No, so yeah, no, the fight sequence was cool.
So I love how there's a pie that's about to be thrown, or no, Chief Thunderhooves is about to go right into like,
oh god,
stab the during the fight. The sheriff's about to get stabbed in the horn by the chief, and then the chief gets hit with a pie. And one thing I'm noticing about season 1, for some reason they like to do the slow-mo for some reason.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird.
Because lower frame rates are cool.
Yeah. So he actually enjoys it, the pie. So he's like, you know what? If you can cut down a path for us, we'll stomp through the grounds not touching your stuff as long as we get some apple pies from you.
Yeah, you see, that's what I mean. This is how you know this was in no way trying to be an allegory for the Native Americans versus the Western colonizers. Because, bro, Can you imagine if that's how peace was resolved? Like Native American gets shot, but then tastes his own blood, and he's like, "All right, fam, got you. So if you just keep supplying us with human blood, we'll let you take over the land, or we'll share the land with you."
Yeah, right. So,
white man came across the sea.
And the end of the episode is where Twilight's doing the letters Celestia. And she says, "You've got to share. You've got to care." And then Pinky comes in before the black bubble consumes the episode. It's like, "Hey, that's my line."
It was like, "Hey, that's what I said."
Yeah. Hey,
you gotta share. You gotta care. You gotta share.
It's the right thing to do.
I'm like, go sit on a cactus.
So that was Over a Barrel.
It was good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
In fact, it was so good, I'm going to have to just say once again, it was good.
Yeah.
I would give this episode an 8.5. I feel like I say this about every season 1 episode I really like, but it earned its legacy for a reason. Some of it good, some of it bad, but most of it's good, I think. This is one of those episodes, like I said, that had a long-lasting impression on the fandom, because it would be 4 or 5 seasons before we ever saw Brayburn again. There'd be even more before we saw him talk. Little Strongheart and the Buffaloes never showed up again, but they are fan favorites. This gave us the Fluttershy tree thing, and and in a lot of ways, this is before Party of One. This was an episode that kind of helped Pseudo win over a lot of people on Pinkie Pie, because it's like, yeah, she was annoying, but she was like, it was done in a tongue-in-cheek way, so that it was done pretty well. So yeah, no, I think the episode has earned its. I think it's earned its place, gamers.
Yeah. I would give it an 8.5 as well. This was a very fun episode. It had a lot of great comedy.
Yes.
A lot of fun throughout the entire episode. And again, Pinky's naivety in this episode was used more for laughs, which is all right by me. All right. So the episode we're reviewing next time, A Bird in the Hoof.
Oh,
Filipino
no.
episode.
Oh, no.
She might banish you from Equestria, or throw you in a dungeon, in the place she banishes you to. People who have not watched Harry Potter, be warned.
I need that gif of that black guy with the chair, and the caption says, "This gonna be good."
Yeah,
as he dances and puts down the chair. Because that is I like that episode. At least I remember liking it. We'll see when I watch it before we talk about it again.
Yeah. So without further ado, that's it from me, John.
And me, Snakeskin.
And we will talk to you guys later. Peace out, Dragon.
Adios.